In just a couple of hours, the Avs take to the ice in Tampa for Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals. It will be interesting to see what both teams bring to the rink, because on Saturday it was really a 7-0 smackdown.
Yeah, it was one of the more one-sided Stanley Cup final games we've ever seen. Now, the team the Avs are playing, remember, the Lightning are two-time defending champs. They've shown their resilience many times over these past 3 playoff seasons. But boy, did they look shell-shocked when Game 2 turned into an Avalanche highlight film. 9 News sports reporter Ariel Arsuto is right there at Amalie Arena in Tampa as we close in on pivotal Game 3 tonight. Hi, Ariel.
Hey there, Tom, and pivotal is right. Fans back home in Denver are walking on air right now after that 2-0 series start. But fans here in Tampa behind me, they are not relenting. They've seen their team crawl back out of a 2-0 series hole before, and all they really have to do is look back as far as about a week ago. The Lightning looked to be the first team to win back-to-back best-of-7 series when trailing 2-0, but they'll have to get past a really fast Avalanche team to do that. And it's a team that is not sitting back either. Jared Bednar's bunch isn't celebrating too early. They know how talented and experienced this Tampa team is, so they're trying to keep their heads down and sticking to their game plan.
We know how good of a team Tampa has been and is, and they're coming home. In our minds, all we did was take care of our home ice. We got the start we wanted in the series. It's up to us to follow that up here in a difficult Tampa building.
Well, obviously we're expecting their best game, and they're going to be desperate. And you know, having said that and knowing that, it still doesn't change anything for us. You know, we want to get to our game as fast as possible, have a good start, and keep building from there. You know, they're a really, really good opponent, and especially here at home. But we've been pretty good on the road too.
The part that the fans can relish, though, this Road Warrior team is a perfect 7-0 away from Ball Arena. You know, it's just something in that hotel water, I think.
Interesting because obviously, you know, Tampa's not lost at home in the postseason. The Avs have not lost on the road. One of those is going to give tonight. But the Avs, who flew through Saturday night, Ariel, they've scored 36 goals in 7 road games. I mean, Tampa's got to figure out how to slow them down somehow.
They've got to figure out how to slow them down somehow, and you think that Andrei Vasilevsky is somehow going to step up here eventually, because he is also perfect in all of those games at home, or 7-1, I should say, at home during that postseason run. So eventually something's got to give, but you know, that Avs team, they are just something else on the road. Tom?
Yeah, and then we got to figure out who's going to skate for the Avs tonight. Andrei Burakovsky added to the injury list, and Nazem Kadri getting closer to coming back. Hopefully we'll get a little update on that a little bit later on. We're going to check back with you and have more from the sports team in just a little bit. Thanks, Ariel.
It's loud there. They're getting ready. It is a beautiful and warm day around Colorado. Really should be good for those watch parties happening downtown, because they're kind of inside, outside, a little combo of both, and you got to get inside by walking outside, Kathy.
Hi, Kim. Hi, Tom. It's beautiful. Guys, this is the last full day of spring.
That's true.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so tomorrow the party's at Tom's house, and hopefully we'll be celebrating the Avalanche win. But the summer solstice tomorrow at 3:14 in the morning. And can you believe it? Not even summer, and we've already seen 99 degrees at least once this year. Crazy. And it's close to 90 this hour. Bright sunshine beating on me down here in the backyard, and I'm sure it is at your house as well. But changes are coming. There's a cold front that will roll through tonight, bringing in cooler air for the start of the new season. 80s, 90s across eastern Colorado. Average high this time of year is about 83, so it's been toasty warm lately, as you know, and really dry. And we've been talking about the drought and the fire danger. But out across the western slope, there's been a plume of moisture that's brought rain, and eventually the front range is going to get in on that weather pattern. Right now, the winds have been a bit gusty for some of you. I know that, especially over the higher terrain. Winds are kind of coming in out of the south and will be shifting north-northwest with the passage of what will be a dry front for the front range. But there's moisture coming in from the south. There's a low pressure area to the north, and the north is where all the heavy thunderstorms are. Severe thunderstorm watch areas just north of North Platte. We've had reports of 1-inch diameter diameter hail and rotating storms near Sydney. In southern Colorado, a little bit of beneficial rain coming down. Thankfully, nothing severe, but also tracking some wind and lightning. The worst of it will stay north of us tonight across the northern plain states. And as we move through the next couple of hours, temperatures in the upper 80s will drop into the upper 70s. And coming up in Maine weather, how about the forecast for summer solstice Tuesday? And we've got showers and thunderstorms. That's right, rain in Denver's forecast. All that ahead.
All right, we'll look for all that. That's a variety. We like it. Thank you, Kathy.
Lot to keep track
all
of.
right.
Thanks, Kathy.
The Jefferson County Sheriff's Office says a driver intentionally swerved into two cyclists yesterday morning, and one of them is in the hospital in critical condition.
Well, now, of course, police are looking for the driver who got away. Noel Brennan's with us now. Noel, a team of cyclists actually saw it happen.
Yeah, Tom, members of Team Evergreen Cycling were riding together yesterday morning. They were on the shoulder of US 40 between Evergreen Parkway and I-70. And a spokesperson for the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office says she is disgusted by what a driver did next. Deputies are now looking for Haley Mill, who was driving a 2018 gray Ford Escape. Deputies say Mill passed one of the cyclists on US 40 and then drove directly into two of the riders. One of them was able to walk away from the crash, but the other was critically injured, and deputies say she is in the hospital now. After the crash, deputies say Mill sped into a restaurant parking lot with the bicycle still underneath the car. Deputies say Mill dislodged the bike and then left the scene.
There were multiple witnesses, obviously the cyclists that were there, but motorists as well saw this occur. And each witness account, and there's at least 5 that I read this morning, indicate that the driver intentionally drove towards these two cyclists and even maybe accelerated.
Arrest records show Mill has been in and out of prison for years and has been convicted of things like property damage, identity theft, burglary, and more. Deputies are still looking for them and that Ford Escape with a temporary Colorado plate 2959061. I got in touch with Team Evergreen Cycling today as well. Kim and Tom, they say they're just heartbroken by what happened yesterday.
Well, Neil, we do so many stories where we talk about cars and bikes getting together, and it's almost always by accident. The intent here is what seems to be shaking people.
Absolutely, and it seems that these riders were in the shoulder of the road. There was no reason why a car should have been anywhere near them, and deputies are pretty confident, based on everyone that saw this yesterday, that this was indeed intentional.
All right, Noel, thanks.
A man was shot and killed while driving on I-70 in Aurora this weekend. His wife and 3 children were in the car with him. Aurora police are still looking for the shooter and say this might have been connected to street racers. Police say there were potential street racers in a white sedan and a black sedan who fired the shots. The man who was killed was not involved in the racing. They don't know if he was caught in the crossfire or if the truck was targeted. 9 News reporter Katie Eastman spoke with APD today, who says cracking down on street racing has become a top priority.
Yeah, so much of a priority, Kim, that for the last 6 weeks in Aurora, Police Street Racing Task Force has been out every weekend using intelligence gathered online and from the community to find where these racing gatherings are taking place. In the month of May alone, officers made 2 arrests, wrote 25 tickets, and towed 3 vehicles. They added there have been various other traffic violations and warnings related to racing. Since May, there have been several more operations. Just last night, APD tells me they issued 9 court summons. These are images that were taken by Aurora police from previous crackdowns on street racing gatherings. APD says this is not a 24/7 task force, and so they just can't be everywhere at once, although they wish they could. While they believe Saturday's death could be connected to street racing, they don't have any information beyond that. They told me they are looking at all angles and possibilities right now. The Aurora Reward Fund is offering up to $10,000 for information in this case. Anyone with information is asked to call APD. That number 303-739-6113.
Well, you'd think somebody saw something. I mean, many times we've all been caught in a situation where you're thinking, is that racing going on near me? So hopefully
someone saw something and will be able to call.
All right, we got to stop it. Thanks, Katie.
When people go missing in Colorado or certain crimes are committed, one of the first calls that law enforcement makes is often to a nonprofit based in Kiowa.
It is a small group, just 4 men and 4 dogs, but they play a vital role. 9 News crime and justice reporter Matt Jablow explains.
Ready to go work?
Release the hounds.
They're kind of a big, dopey dog, very happy. Just kind of love life.
The Bloodhounds, that is. Copper, Carlene, Isabel, and Hiccup.
They're lovable, they're sloppy.
The four most important members of Bloodhound Man Trackers, a nonprofit founded in 2014 by 3 law enforcement officers in Colorado to help law enforcement agencies throughout the state.
If there's a need, exactly, yeah, they'll call Bloodhound Man Trackers.
Brian Eberly is the group's vice president and one of its handlers.
There aren't any other agencies in Colorado that have a full-time Bloodhound unit for tracking down bad guys, finding lost or missing.
Over the past 8 years, the 4 dogs and their 4 handlers, none of whom gets paid, have worked for about 65 different agencies on nearly 200 cases, many of them high-profile murder cases.
Hey, good boy.
Kenya Mounier, Kelsey Barrett, Kelsey Schelling.
Is that it?
They train every Monday for a few hours to hone and maintain the dog's remarkable ability to find human remains.
Is that it? They track. That's just what they do. It comes so natural.
And living humans.
Yeah, all right, good boy.
They see everything you see, they smell everything 60 million times better than you. I'm glad I can't smell like they do. Oof, that would be horrible.
Frank Hurst is the president of Bloodhound Man Trackers and a former investigator with the Elbert County Sheriff's Office.
We started the nonprofit so we could go out and help any agency without charging.
He says he and his dogs have found about 30 missing people over the years, alive and well. According to Frank, it's the part of the work that makes all the hours of training and the many miles of tracking worthwhile.
When you find that one person, even if you only find one in your whole career, it's what an amazing feeling.
In Elizabeth, Matt Jablow, 9 News.
Oh, the power of those dogs and what they can do. So far this year, Bloodhound Man Trackers has worked for 8 different agencies on 11 different cases, from murders to missing people.
Good for them.